Hey, what's up YouTube? Welcome back. My name's Alfx, and today guys, I'm going to be talking about Battlefield 5, or at least the next Battlefield game in the Battlefield franchise. Now, this is a very controversial topic as Battlefield 1 didn't recently come out, but it came out last year near the end of the year, and I actually prefer Battlefield 4 over Battlefield 1. Now, leave a like whether you think either Battlefield should go back to the modern era or whether it should stay in the past, because that is what I'm going to be talking about today, whether Battlefield should come back to the modern era or whether it should go and stay back in the past where Battlefield 1 currently is. Now, as well, make sure if you actually enjoy this video to subscribe, as it helps me a lot. And yes, I've got my 100 subscribers back, thank you. And as well, in yesterday's video, it took quite a long time to edit as well, so if you can consider checking that one out as well, it'd be very appreciated. And with that being said, let's get into the video. So first off, I'm going to be talking about Battlefield 4 and the actual Battlefield franchise before Battlefield 4 as well, because Battlefield 1 is a completely different topic as it goes back further than any other Battlefield game has gone before, World War 1 in fact. So Battlefield 4 is a first-person shooter video game developed by game developer EA DICE and published by EA or Electronic Arts. It was first released to the public on 29th of October 2013, and it got some awards as well as being on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 and PC. Now, this Battlefield is my favourite Battlefield by far, Battlefield 3 being my second favourite and Battlefield Bad Company 2 being my third favourite. So as you can tell, I like the modern versions of Battlefield, and especially Battlefield 4. Now, why do I like Battlefield 4? Is it just because it's in the modern era? No, not particularly. See, if Battlefield 1 followed the same, route as Battlefield 4, I would really enjoy the game, but unfortunately it hasn't. It has actually made a big change to the Battlefield franchise, and I will be talking about that in a few minutes if you just wait up in the video. Battlefield 3 as well as Battlefield Bad Company 2 are both also based in the modern era, and they are also the two most liked Battlefield games to date. Obviously Battlefield 1943 and 1942 took place in World War II, and they were quite popular games as well, Battlefield 1942 being the first ever Battlefield game and 1943 coming out just before Bad Company 2 did, and they are all modern. And Battlefield has followed a modern strategy with the Bad Company era, and they did have World War II games, and they did have a futuristic game, but other than that they stuck to the modern era. Now, whether Battlefield 5 or the next Battlefield game should be in modern era, I think yes, as a lot of people enjoy Battlefield 4 more than Battlefield 1. I do. I mean, technically I don't own Battlefield 1, but I've played the game before. I played it in beta as well. If you can see gameplay of on the screen, that is from the beta of the actual Battlefield 1 game, so that's, if you think I'm just on one map for a random reason, it's because it was on the beta. It was Sinai Desert. It was the only map we could play in the beta. So they've had a lot of success, EA and DICE, in the modern era of games, as well as having lots of people favoriting their modern era over the World War 1 fact. When they went back to Battlefield 1, or when they at least said they were going back to Battlefield 1, a lot of people weren't very happy. They were like, please, you shouldn't have gone that far back. At least people thought they were going to Vietnam, or, you know, staying in the modern era, and we didn't. And maybe Battlefield 5 or the next Battlefield game should be in the Vietnam era. Though Call of Duty is doing it, and it might be controversial when they make the game, it isn't going to be made for another 2 to 3 years. As you know, Battlefield, they make amazing games and they take a long time to develop and create. So now we're going to be going on to Battlefield 1, the most recent game in the Battlefield franchise. It is the 15th installment in the Battlefield series, and its first main entries in the series since Battlefield 4, and it was also developed by EA DICE and was, you know, I had different developers like in the team, but generally it was made by the same and developed by the same company. A lot of developers were actually fired for some errors that went in Battlefield 4. You know, when the game started, a lot of developers were fired for the actual startup of the servers not being very well. As well, Battlefield 4 did launch on most platforms, as it was released in 2013 when the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One recently released, so they were on multiple platforms. But for Battlefield 1, it is only on PlayStation 4, Xbox One and PC. Though this is a good thing in a way, it is sort of a bad thing for people who have still not got the current gen consoles and are on the Xbox 360 and PS3. But Battlefield 1 is a game that strides on its graphics. It looks incredible, like when the rain drizzles on your gun, it looks amazing. So when it comes to Battlefield 5, it's going to release in 2 to 3 years, and that's a definite. It's not going to release next year like a Battlefield Hardline game, because Battlefield made that mistake, and they are not going to do that again. My opinion on this whole matter is they should really come back to the modern era, as I do like Battlefield 1 and it's a good game, but it's the amount of guns that they had in World War 1, and you could say, yes, there's lists of hundreds of guns, but they were all prototype guns, and if you watch any World War 1 documentary or film, you will never see most of the guns in Battlefield 1, likely because they were only in prototype form, and only 1 or 2 people in the entire army had them. Like, the gun that you can pick up, the Tank Hunter, 1 out of 100 men in every squadron of every army were allowed one of those. You know how many people that is? That's not many. In every army, mind you. So 1 in the French army would have had 1 out of 100 men, and 1 in the British army. Though you could actually argue that there were a lot of people in the armies. Yeah, but if you had a squadron of 100 men, only 1 of you were allowed that rifle. And it wasn't a very popular rifle either, as it had really bad accuracy and took a long time to reload. But we're not talking about weapons today, we're actually talking about the future of Battlefield. So I'm going to end off the video with my last statement. Please, Battlefield, bring the game further into the future at least. I'd really like you to bring it back to the modern era, but I have no idea what you're going to do, and I can't, just by saying me, a 100 subscriber, I feel good about saying that, a 100 subscriber channel cannot change your views on anything and cannot change how you're going to develop or make a game. But that is just my little say on the matter. Until then, guys, it's been LFX.